Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. I've been here all day and had some time to sit with your coaches and administrators too. So I put them to the test today and kind of hopefully hold them accountable so you guys can feel free to hold them accountable as well. Obviously, we're going to be talking about sleep for the next 3 hours tonight. Totally kidding. Like an hour. That's it, right? And how it can either help. I'm not funny, but I think I am, really. So, talking about how sleep and how it can impact your performance. I'm not going to tell you that you need to get more sleep. I'm not going to tell you to get less sleep. It's not my role here. Okay, my role is to help educate you on what sleep can do for you as an athlete. So if you choose to get it, this is how it can help you. If you don't choose to get it, here's what you're leaving on the table at the end of the day. Okay? A little bit about me. I've been doing this for 20 years. Worked at IMG Academies in Florida, training their athletes. There's a company called Exos, which used to be called Athletes Performance. I helped start that in the late 90s. As director of human performance for one of our Olympic teams and spent 7 years as the director of sports performance at Stanford. Now, I'm a hired gun. I solve human performance problems. I spend most of my time working with our Special Operations Forces and Department of Defense to solve human performance problems for our tactical athletes, as they like to call themselves, even though they're not athletes, but they like to call them, makes them feel good, whatever, right? So I still work with pro teams, pro athletes, helping improve their performance. That's what I do. They come to me for various problems. One of them happens to be sleep. This is a slide that was for your coaches, and I'm sharing this with you today so you can know what I kind of told them. And it was about this book. And the whole premise of this book, The One Thing, is what is the one thing, such by doing it, will make everything else either easier or unnecessary. So if there's one thing they can do to make their lives easier, what is it? And it was that you have to coach sleep. That's their job. They coach skill, technical, tactical aspects of the sport, but they also have to coach sleep. It's that important. And the reason why it's important is we did a lot of research when I was at Stanford. This is the guy who I did research with. Anybody ever heard of REM sleep? Raise your hand if you've heard of REM sleep. Okay. That guy discovered it. Yeah, it's Dr. Bill Dement. He's 87 years old, nicest guy you'd ever meet, right? He discovered REM. He has an awesome quote: "Dreaming permits each and every one of us to be quietly and safely insane every night of our lives." Okay? So he's the father of sleep medicine. He introduced me to a woman named Sherry Ma. And Sherry is now a physician in San Francisco. And what we did was we started looking at sleep and athletes and see if it made a difference. As a matter of fact, we just published some research this past June. Poor sleep quality and insufficient sleep of a collegiate student athlete population. Sound familiar? Right? Most college students have some sort or a lot of sleep deprivation. By the way, if you fall asleep in this talk, you get extra credit. All right? So everybody's like, sweet, where's my pillow? But essentially, people don't believe that. People don't believe college students are underslept unless you do like a research study. People don't believe you unless you do research on it. So that's why we did this. It's that important. So sleep matters at the end of the day. This matters too. This is a surgical sponge. So if anybody has ever had surgery in this room, you've probably had one of these inside of you. Now, why is this important? It's important because 11 surgical sponges are left in patients every single day. Oh, by the way, they're trained not to leave these inside of people. Okay? But yet, they leave them inside of people. 11 on average every day, left in people. Oops. Why is that? Fatigue. Fatigue as a result of sleep deprivation. Even if they're trained not to do it, people do stupid things when they're fatigued. So the whole role of sleep, to facilitate an optimal level of waking function. That's why we sleep. So we can perform optimally when we're awake. It's just like the surgical sponges, when we are sleep deprived, bad stuff happens. Okay? 3 Mile Island, which is the largest nuclear disaster here on United States soil, happened at 4 in the morning because an operator didn't notice this warning light blinking. That said, coolant is leaking out of the reactor. He was trained to recognize that. He was trained to enact a whole emergency procedure if that light went off, but he didn't recognize it. Why? He was fatigued. So he did not recognize things that he had been trained to do over and over again. Chernobyl, same issue. The Challenger explosion in 1986. They were determining whether or not the flight should take off or not after the cold weather in Cape Canaveral, Florida. And all the engineers who were on zero sleep for the last 3 days were talking to the flight ops group that were on less than 2 hours of sleep for the past 3 days. And they said, yeah, it should be fine. Even though the statistics, if you run those statistics, will tell you it's a 97% likelihood that that O-ring is going to fail. Why did they miss it? Fatigue. And we can look at other things. Exxon Valdez, the guy fell asleep at the wheel of the oil tanker. Decimated the ecosystem in Prince William Sound. And then more recently, June and August of 2017, our Navy, people that I work with, right, got rammed by other ships. Sailors died, right? And you have to ask yourself, right, how can we have some of the most technologically advanced boats and ships out there with so many different bells and whistles and advanced radar, and a boat snuck up on us and ran into us? Weird, right? But it had to do with sleep deprivation. So much that our Secretary of the Navy launched a comprehensive fatigue and endurance management policy to kind of fix this issue. People were dying. Now we're just talking about athletics, right? Wins and losses type stuff. We're not talking about people dying. But the point is, 20 years ago, nobody was talking about sleep. Nobody was talking about nutrition even. So who could play the best? Who could win the most games, eating like crap and sleeping like crap? But now people are paying attention to it. It's no longer a level playing field. Some schools are dealing with it, some schools choose not to. Is it important or is it not? I suspect it's important here because one, they're making all of you come here, and two, I had your administration, a lot of them, and most of your coaches today, and the ones that weren't in there, I caught them after and had a one-on-one with them. And I held them accountable, so feel free to do that as well. So this ties in nicely with some of the work that I was doing with the military. Okay, they hired me to solve a problem. They get hurt like everybody else, except the military has a $1 billion musculoskeletal injury problem. A lot of freaking money, right? People getting hurt. So what we did was we developed a framework. I don't expect you to understand what that is, but there's 105 different elements that contribute to human performance. What we found is that really dials down to this. Can we perform cognitively, physically, socially, and emotionally? Now, like Todd's group, strength conditioning, they deal with the physical and cognitive too, right? But performance is more than that. Social aspects, it's emotional aspects, right? You just can't focus on just sport all day long because there's other aspects. You just can't focus on academics all day long. There's other aspects. You just can't focus on being social all day long, right? They'll kick you out of school, right? So there's all these different things that are happening. In order to really achieve sustainable high performance, you have to be optimized in all four of those domains, and they're all connected. How you feel physically can impact how you feel cognitively, emotionally, and socially. How you think impacts how you feel. They all connect. But few of those elements connect with those things on a first order. And guess what one of them is? Sleep. Sleep impacts how we feel emotionally. It can help or hurt us. It impacts how we feel socially. It can help or hurt us. It can impact how we perform physically, cognitively, the whole gamut. Sorry, I wander a lot, so I'm just going to keep walking around here. Okay? Keeps me entertained. Here's a stage of healthy sleep. We're not going to get into sleep architecture, but what I want you to take away from this slide is this. If you're supposed to get 8 hours, we'll talk about that in a minute, and you only get like 5, you're cutting off like 2.5 cycles of REM. All you know about REM, it's important. Okay? You guys probably already get that. But if we keep just cutting off our sleep, that's a problem. And I yelled at your coaches. Like, you guys function at a high level. You want your athletes to function at a high level. But you guys have to make decisions, so get sleep yourselves. Make sure your staffs get sleep yourselves. Don't stay up watching video till 3 in the morning. Go to bed, right? I don't like talking to coaches like a 3-year-old, like they are, but they are sometimes, right? So we have to make sure that hold them accountable as well, because it's all about a high-performing team, right? Because high-performing teams, how they function, is it's the individual choices which can impact the entire team. Okay? I'll give you an example. With our military operators, we have them come into a room for breakfast. They have no idea. They just think they're coming to eat breakfast. And we have eggs and veggie omelets and really good, healthy food, but then we also have cake and donuts and like really not healthy food, right? And everybody makes their plate, and then we sit across from each other. And then what we do, we plate swap. So now I have to give him my plate, he gives me his plate. So my choices, depending on what I did, I could totally just screw him. He could have a wheat allergy and I could give him some wheat toast and now he's screwed, right? So if you think about it, our individual choices at the time, that's what that whole thing is about, is how does it impact the team as a whole? So just like you guys, whether you choose to sleep or not, there's a cost of doing business. It can help your team, it can hurt your team. Same as your coaches. So they can either help you guys or hurt your guys. Because in the military, we're in business of trying to enhance how people can make decisions quickly and rapidly, and not only that, make the right decisions. And from that standpoint, you do that all the time in athletics. You have to react to something, you read something, and you have to make a decision. And how, it doesn't matter if it's trained or not, you can train it tons of times, like they train people not to leave sponges in human beings, right? But at the end of the day, if you're sleep deprived, that could be a problem, okay? So sleep matters. It can impact reaction time, recovery, overall performance, and career longevity, okay? This is the high performance order of operations. Skill is the technical, tactical pieces of your sport, the nuances, what coaches are working with you, right? Performance is just your overall performance, not very much sport specific, but more as an athlete. Then you have movement. How well do you move as a human? Do I have the proper ranges of motion? Do I have any compensatory patterns? Everybody focus on these top three, okay? I made a comment to your administration that you guys don't have a registered dietitian on staff. And you need one, okay? Because that's a problem. If they're committed to excellence or excellence of an athletic program, then you need to put in the resources. And so I'm just trying to help push things along a little bit. Todd and I had a good discussion. He goes, anything you can do to help would be great. So I hit him with that. But I think sleep is more important than nutrition. People say, Brandon, what do? Do I wake the team up and feed them breakfast, or do we let them sleep in? You let them sleep in. Yeah, but you're a sleep guy. You're always going to say that. But wait, I have a PhD in nutrition. So if I have a PhD in nutrition, and I'm telling you, all right, whatever, guys. The lacrosse guys like that, evidently. But, you know, and we'll talk about why in a second, but it's sleep comes before nutrition, okay? So not getting enough sleep, what happens? We know what this is. Some of us might be living it right now. Increased risk of injury and pain threshold. Stuff hurts more when we are sleep deprived. Aches and pains bother you more. Bumps and bruises piss you off more, okay? That bothers us. The more sleep deprived we are, the more things hurt. Greater susceptibility to sickness. I think we all know this too. The less sleep you get, the more likelihood that you're going to get the cold or flu when you do that. Reduce physical and psychological performance. You don't perform as well. They've done enough studies where they put sleep-deprived people behind a wheel of a car and drive on a track, and they're running into cardboard cutouts of families, knocking over cones, right? We know you don't perform well. Reduce motivation, learning ability, and memory. Yeah, if you're sleep-deprived, I'm not motivated to do anything but go to bed, right? I don't want to learn anything, and my memory's not as crisp and clear, right? I become fuzzy. I can't recall things. Things aren't as sharp, okay? Increased anxiety, irritability, and mistakes. One of the number one prescriptions that sports psychologists give athletes is sleep. Because anxiety can be exacerbated by a lack of sleep. Irritability can be exacerbated by lack of sleep, all of these things. Many times there's nothing really wrong with these individuals. They're just sleep deprived. So if you can focus on this aspect, a lot of these things tend to go away. Increased body fat percentage. You revert to old habits, okay? And poor judgment in distance, speed, and time. That said, anytime I fly into a city late at night and have to hop in an Uber or Lyft, I'm watching the road along with the driver. I don't know how long they've been up, right? They could have worked all day, make some extra bucks, drive to the airport a little bit. I'm watching. You're a little more paranoid, right? I'm a sleep guy, right? What happens if we do get enough? Motivation improves. We recover faster. Sprint speeds improve. I can store glycogen or energy in the muscle at a higher and better rate. I regulate stress better. My motor skill development or the sport-specific tasks that my coaches are trying to get me to do and have been yelling at me over and over again saying, why don't you get it? Right? Those things start to stick. Rehab sticks better. If I'm getting corrective exercises or going through rehabilitation, I will bounce back quicker. And then memory consolidation, retention of scattered reports, or even stuff in the classroom sticks better, right? The only downside of getting sleep, there is none, right? You feel better. There's no downside at all. Okay, that's the nice thing about it. And that was the nice thing, again, like I said, about having your coaches here and about hitting these things home. A lot of them I know are going to be asking you guys tomorrow about this, so feel free to ask them about it as well, right? Because that's the only way this works if it's from the top down and bottom up, okay? All of this begins with one thing, paying back what you owe, and that's called sleep debt. Sleep debt, put simply, is if you guys need 8 hours of sleep and you get 7, you owe me an hour. So tonight you need to get 9. I get it. 9's not always realistic. 8's not always, hell, 6 ain't always realistic, right? It's college. I have things I need to do, right? I have academics, and hell, sometimes I just want to go out. I get it, okay? So I'm going to be a realist about this at the same time. But just know that that sleep debt does add up. And you can get by with a couple of nights of sleep debt. The problem is when it builds up over time, and if I do that habitually, then that's going to hurt me. That's going to be a problem. So how do you know if you have sleep debt? Well, we like to say drowsiness is red alert, which means right after lunch, right? If you're in class right after lunch, all of a sudden you start dozing off, nodding off, looking for caffeine, looking for tobacco, looking for some stimulant to wake you up, right? This is because of sleep debt. Some people say, oh, I had too many carbohydrates at lunch and I'm just so sleepy. And I have no idea why I have to use that voice when I talk like that. Right? Just like when I imitate a strength coach, I have to use like a southern accent, a weird thing. But anyway, so sometimes people think it's like what they had for lunch. It's like totally has nothing to do with that. We've done studies that have looked at like 48 different food combinations and if people are sleepy after lunch. And the only thing that mattered, it had nothing to do with proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, or anything like that. What it had to do with was the amount of sleep debt these individuals had. Because this blue line here is a sleep urge, and we all have that urge right after lunch. The question is, do you feel that urge or not? If I have very little to no sleep debt, I don't even perceive that. The more sleep debt I have, the greater the urge to fall asleep. So if you're nodding off, or if somebody's nodding off in class, sleep debt. That's how you know if you have it, okay? Now, some of you guys might be thinking, oh, I have so much sleep debt, I'm never going to pay that back, so screw it, right? Good news is it maxes out right about 50 hours. So you can pay back sleep debt, it just takes time. You can't do it in a weekend. You can't do it in one night. You can't fall asleep at 6:30 on your couch and then wake up at 7 the next morning saying, yeah, I paid it back, right? No, it takes time. But when you do pay it back, that's where good things happen. And we started to look at this at Stanford with our swimmers. And said, what happens if we pay back sleep debt? So what we did, we had our swimmers get 10 plus hours a night for 5 weeks. It's research, right? Right, someone says, I want to do that study. So what we did was after that, we paid back their hypothetical sleep debt and we tested them again. They improved by 8% sprint speed. They got faster by 8%. That's It's a lot, right? You've seen it. You've been to the Olympics, right? You've watched the Olympics when a swimmer like misses like medaling by like a gnat's ass, right? And they're in there and just miss it by like 0.004. Sorry, you've been training for 4 years, now you don't get anything, right? 20% improvement in reaction time. Oh, what 20% is? 0.4 seconds, 400 milliseconds. Put that into context. Blink your eyes. That was 300 milliseconds. That's that gnat's ass I was talking about, okay? Turn time efficiency and kick strokes improve. All these numbers together, what this is better expression of strength and power. So what you train for, you actually can use it to your advantage, okay? So rounding all these numbers put together creates a successful performance. But what if it was just swimmers? Maybe it's just aquatic athletes, right? What if? So we did it with our basketball team. Same type of thing, 10 plus hours a night for 5 weeks, and free throw shooting improved by 9%, 3-point field goal shooting improved by 9%. They got faster, they covered more ground in less time, 0.7 seconds faster over 95 yards if you're a baseball player, or field sport, cross, what have you. That's a difference of 10 feet over 15 seconds. That's significant. And I gotta add here, this doesn't mean that you guys are gonna be All-Americans or win every game. This is about stacking the odds in your favor, giving you guys a competitive advantage. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it stacks the odds in your favor of being the best. Career longevity. This was a study that we did with Major League Baseball. 3-year study. We split 80 guys up into 3 groups. This third, you guys, normal sleep traits. You guys slept well, woke up fine. Maybe you woke up once in the night to go make pee, something like that, but you guys did what? Okay? Yes, I said make pee. Yeah. You guys in the middle, you guys had poor sleep traits. Irregular times you went to bed, irregular times you went up, you had no consistency, you stayed up a lot of times playing video games, all over the place. Now the third group, severe sleep issues. Okay, that's right. Okay, so that was like sleep apnea, insomnia, restless leg syndrome, things like that. And people are like, well, apnea, right? That's for like the 465-pound, 6'7" like football player, right? That's not us. Oh no. It can happen to anybody. You can be 5'9", 170 pounds and 12% body fat and have sleep apnea. And you can be 20 years old and have sleep apnea. It can happen to anybody. So what they did was they said, of these 80 players, let's go back 3 years later and see who's still playing. So of those with good sleep traits, slept well, 72%, pretty good odds. This group here with poor sleep traits, about 40%, but only 14% of my severe sleep issue people were still playing. You know what those are? Those are called outliers. Those are also the people that have very long, successful careers who sleep like crap and eat like crap. They're out there. There are people that can sleep terribly and eat like crap and be like awesome athletes. They're out there, right? But that cannot be everybody in this room. It can only be a handful, if a handful in this room. And I said the same thing to your coaches as well, because that's one thing we don't want is coaches think, well, I did it, so therefore they should be able to do it. Okay? Another thing we looked at every Major League Baseball team from 2005 to 2011. This is not a surprise, but their ability to perform at the plate, up to bat, went down across the season, every year. And it didn't matter how many cuts they took, how much BP they took, how much video they watched. All of that didn't make a difference. What mattered was their fatigue. These guys were playing baseball forever, right? That's my extra credit guy right there. Yes! He said, do I get extra credit? Clearly, he didn't hear me. I said, my extra credit guy. Okay? It's totally fine. It just tells me he has sleep debt, right? So they thought this decline was due to fatigue. This is huge. People who slept less than 6 hours the night before a game are 1.7 times likely to get hurt compared to those that slept greater than or equal to 8 hours. Wonder why that is? Well, if I'm sleep deprived, I could revert to old habits. I have poor judgment of distance, speed, and time. Memory consolidation. I fatigue faster. I don't recover quicker. And if I'm trying to perform in a fatigued state, not only mentally, cognitively, but also physically, I'm stacking the odds against me that bad stuff's going to happen. Sleeping 8 hours or 9 hours doesn't guarantee you're going to be injury-free, but it stacks the odds in your favor. That's what we're trying to do with you guys, okay? What do we got next? Sleep and testosterone. Very tightly linked. 24-year-old guys got less than 5 hours of sleep a night for 1 week, and their testosterone fell by 15%. What the hell does 15% mean? It means that these 24-year-old guys, at the end of 1 week, had the testosterone levels of 40-year-old men. That's significant. Yeah. So if you're talking about muscle mass, energy, concentration, hell, sex drive, whatever you want to call it, right? All of these things are impacted if you do not get enough sleep. So people are spending lots amount of time in the weight room, trying to get bigger, stronger, faster, more powerful, yet are sleep deprived. You cannot expect maximum results of your training program if it's built upon crappy sleep. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. It does not matter. You can't out-normatech a bad night's sleep. You can't jump in contrast showers. You can't get in the cold plunges, hot tubs. Those things do not make up for a bad night's rest. You cannot expect that to happen. I call sleep pre-covery. You need to have it first before you can do anything else. Okay, it's not going to give you the bang for your buck. Brain health, probably something you guys aren't thinking about, right? But I spoke to your coaches because they're older, right? Why not? When you sleep, your brain bathes itself with cerebral spinal fluid. It does housekeeping. Cleans out these metabolic waste products. It cleans out these toxins that build up throughout the day. And it needs time to do that. Like if we hire you guys as a housekeeper to clean your place, but I give them like 2 minutes, how good a job are they going to do, right? She's laughing, she gets it, right? She's like, not a very good job, right? So if you do not give your brain enough time to clean, it's going to leave debris. And over time, that debris can stack the odds against you in terms of developing some brain-related diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, etc. It doesn't mean you're going to get it, okay? But again, you're not keeping the odds in your favor, which is what this is about. Grade point averages. This is our U.S. military cadets. When we gave them the opportunity to get sleep from 6 hours a night to 8 hours a night, their GPA went up 11%. Shocking, right? So it's so funny. I think this drives me crazy about teachers, okay? My wife won't let me talk to teachers because of this, because I just go nuts, right? Like, well, the students aren't grasping the skills, so we're going to load them up on homework. Well, maybe because you're loading them up on homework, they're up so damn late doing the work. And they can't go to bed. It's like, dilly dilly, right? And they can go to bed at a decent hour, and then maybe they can grasp the concepts better, right? And I get, don't get me wrong, homework is important, but when they load so much on these kids that they can't even get a good night's sleep, that's a problem, okay? So anyway, so what we know is if you take advantage of that, that's huge. Matter of fact, when we were at Stanford, that guy I showed you, the father of sleep medicine, he was so influential that the earliest class you could take at Stanford was 9 a.m. Yeah, right? It's crazy, right? But that's what performance is about. But again, you still have to take that opportunity. Hey, great, coach is going to push back practice 3 hours, so I'm going to go out for 3 hours and get the same amount of sleep, right? Some of you will do that. I don't care. It's not my problem, right? I'm getting paid whether you sleep or not, right? But some of you, it can make a difference. And if you take advantage of it, good things will happen. Brain health. We talked about irritability. We talked about anxiety. Oh, my daughter was born. I was sleep deprived. I knocked over the hot sauce one morning making breakfast, and I was pissed. I was like angry. It's just Cholula. Jeez. And I was like, ah. My wife's like, settle down. I'm like, it's all right. I'm just sleep deprived, right? Because what happens here is when we're sleep deprived, this front of your brain, which is called the prefrontal cortex, becomes inhibited. Well, what does the prefrontal cortex do? Good judgment. It provides all of us with good judgment. And when we're sleep deprived, that part of your brain becomes inhibited, and then what drives decisions? The emotional center of your brain. So you start making decisions based upon emotion and not good judgment. Remember all those disasters? People died. They weren't exercising good judgment. Okay? Short sleep, more colds. We talked about this immune function. So, if before you guys came in here, I sprayed the cold virus in this room, laugh, but maybe, right? The likelihood of you getting sick 3 days from now after the incubation period would be dependent upon how much sleep you got last night. Yeah. So if you got greater than 7 hours, you're 17% likely to get a cold. All right, those are good odds. Odds are in your favor. But if you got less than 5 hours, 45%. Hell, you might as well flip a coin whether you're going to get sick, right? And the college setting's tough, right? You go into a classroom. Who knows who sat on the desk before you and sneezed all over it? You're putting your hands on it, right? And then when you have to compete, being sick sucks. When you have to compete and be on the road and travel, it sucks more. When you're sick and have to travel and compete and be on the road and you lose, then it really friggin' sucks, right? It's not fun. And the flu, we know, affects 10% of the population. Small amount. But what's 10% of a freaking basketball squad? 10% of your starting lineup. If the wrong 10% hits the athletic population, those are completely different ramifications we're talking about, right? Again, stacking the odds in your favor. Now, there is some sleep pathology out there. A lot of stuff that people believe that's just plain wrong, okay? And I went through these with your coaches too. Number one, you can get too much sleep. No, you can't get too much sleep. Sleep is a good thing, especially in a chronically sleep-deprived population such as collegiate athletes. It's okay to sleep, right? People are loving this right now, okay? Some people say, well, I heard that people who are depressed sleep a lot. I'm like, well, yes, people who are depressed can sleep a lot, but it doesn't mean if you sleep a lot, you'll become depressed, okay? But what we do know is that some of them are going back to the anxiety and brain health. Sleep can actually help relieve some of those symptoms. Number two, naps are bad. No, naps are not bad. The only time I would not recommend a nap is if it interferes with your ability to get a good night's rest. So for instance, I had a college roommate that decided to take a nap at 9:30 at night. You laugh, but you've probably done it, some of you who are laughing, okay? So he got to bed at 9:30, next thing you know, he wakes up at 11. I wake up in the morning, 6 a.m. to head to the weight room. He's watching TV. I couldn't sleep? He goes, no, I couldn't sleep. Craziest thing. I'm like, really? Not that crazy. Right? So naps are great if you have the ability to pay back some sleep debt and you can take a nap. Great. Now people say, well, Brandon, how much sleep do we need? How long of a nap, right? Ideally, a textbook is 20 minutes. But we live in reality. We don't live in the textbook world because we're collegiate athletes. So if a 2-hour power nap is what you got, take it. Totally fine. Okay? As long as it doesn't interfere with your ability to sleep at night. That's when it becomes problematic. Now, there's this thing called sleep inertia, which people get when they tend to sleep longer than 20 minutes. They kind of feel groggy. And that can last anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours. My man right here was feeling a little bit earlier, right? Remember that? Yeah. He was a little groggy, a little bit out of it, not sure what the day was type of thing, right? Maybe he's always like that. I don't know. Give him the benefit of the doubt. But there's this thing called a nappuccino. All right? And what it is you consume some caffeine. Caffeine takes about 15 minutes to kick in your body. You go lie down and take a nap, you wake up 20 minutes later, you wake up, you get the benefits of a nice nap, and you get to kick the sleep inertia because the caffeine is kicked in and you're on your way, okay? Try it if you like. If you don't try it, but it's just an option. Bottom line, get a nap if you need it. Talked to one of your coaches, and they asked me, so as a leader, does it make sense for me to schedule my own nap time in the middle of the day? I said, yes, 100%. If you're not taking care of yourself, then why are your athletes going to take care of themselves? It's like when I was giving a similar sleep presentation to the Chicago Cubs, who did I have in the second row? Theo Epstein. Who did I have next to him? Jed Hoyer, the president and GM second row. I had Madden, their manager, sitting right behind them. Why? Because it was important that everybody in the organization, not just the athletes, get the message. Because it was important that everybody understand the importance of sleep, fatigue, and how it can help you or hurt you. Okay? 8 hours of sleep is ideal. No. It's different for everybody. 8 hours of sleep captures most people. The average person, right? We're not average. We require more sleep, right? So, everybody's going to be different in this room. You might need 8. You might need 8.5. You might need 9, 9.75, 7.5. Everybody's going to be different. Nobody needs 4 hours. And anybody tells you, well, I sleep 4 hours a night. It's my badge of honor. I sleep 4 hours and look what I can do. You're full of crap, right? Dr. Dement, the guy I told you about, said, Brandon, he goes, I spent the early part of my career traveling across the globe. I went all over the globe tracking down these people that said 3 hours a night, 4 hours a night, and were high performers and this and that. He goes, you know, it was the biggest waste of time and money in my career. He goes, they all underreported how much sleep they needed. They all underreported how much sleep they got. He goes, so if people say that, not the case. You don't have outliers like that. Those sleep studies that we did with our athletes, we asked them before and after how much sleep they thought they needed. Consistently, every athlete underreported the amount of sleep they needed by 1.5 hours. People that said they needed 7, finished the study and said, no, I need 8.5. People that needed 8, thought they needed 8, came out saying, I'm 9.5. People don't realize how much sleep they need. People think they can perform on 6 hours a night, 7 hours a night, right? It's called renorming. It's like showing a picture of you guys from 5 years ago. Damn, I look young. I look like tiny, right? But you don't perceive that because you look in the mirror every day and you renorm yourself. So over the last 5 years of your life, you don't see those tiny, imperceivable changes in age. Same thing with sleep. If you get 6 hours every night for the past 3 years, those small, tiny, incremental increases in fatigue add up. You don't perceive them every day, but you become adjusted or normed or renormed to those. So you don't understand how much those impact you until you pay back that sleep debt. Number 4, older people don't need as much sleep. Whether you are 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 105, 115, however old you choose to live, right? If you need 9 hours, you need 9 hours. Okay? Youth, there's a little bit of a difference. What if I have that here? Athletes, less than 24 years old, 9 to 10 hours a night. Again, not always realistic. So take advantage of naps when you can. Get the sleep when you can, right? I'm not saying forego going out, but just know there's a cost of doing business. That sometimes can linger on, okay? Let's see if this bounces back. When you go to sleep matters too. Falling asleep before 1 a.m. is best. After 3 a.m. always guarantees a poor night's rest. Storing up sleep for the week ahead. Can't store sleep, folks. I got a crazy week next week. I got midterms. I got practice. I'm going to sleep all this week. And next week, I'm going to just crank it out. Can't do it. If anything, you pay back some sleep debt, which is good, right? You want to be able to pay back that sleep debt, and that's a good thing. Last one. Alcohol helps you sleep. No. Alcohol helps you pass out. Okay? There is a distinct difference between the two. All right? When you have consumed too much alcohol, and people are like, well, too much, that must mean there's a certain amount that's okay. That is true, there's a certain amount of okay. And then the next question is, Brandon, how much is that? How much is that? How much? Does it matter? Hard liquor, beer? Well, what do we got, right? So what happens is it's different for everybody, okay? When you drink too much, you might be out solid all night long. Hell, you might wake up with one eyebrow. I don't know, I don't care, okay? But the point is you skip over the regenerative stages of sleep. It's junk sleep. It doesn't count. Sure, there are people who go out and get hammered, wake up the next morning, and play a game that day or evening and have the best game of their career. They are there. But I guarantee those people don't do that every week, time and time out. If they do, they don't play the best game time in and time out. Time again. It just doesn't happen. It's not sustainable high performance. It might be one-off, it could be lucky, divine intervention, whatever the hell you want to call it, but it's not planned performance. Okay? So again, drinking too much, you'll skip over the regenerative stages of sleep, which ideally is not a good thing. Stay calm after one bad night's rest. If you don't get a good night's rest or 2 good nights' rest, don't worry about it. That's my sleep from 1 week. I captured it for you guys. I made sure it was a good one then. Okay? So look, I got some bad nights here. I got 7.1, 6.8. Truth be told, I got 3 hours the other night. I showed tired, so I'm not immune. I was traveling to the West Coast from the East Coast and woke up early, couldn't sleep at 3 a.m. It's like, oh, time to get up, 3 a.m. Went out and got coffee. Sweet. But I didn't panic, right? Because I paid back the sleep debt with a 9.5, 9.3, so I got another 6.8, 8.3. Point is, I'm on top of it. I'm going to try and get a nap if I can, when I can. I'm going to try and go to bed early if I can, when I can. Sure, sometimes I stay up late. I love to stay up late. My brain turns on at 10. I do my best work at 1 a.m., right? That's me. I'm an owl. I like going to bed late, waking up late. But I know there's a cost of doing business, and I can't always do that, so I have to adjust. Okay? Let's see what we got next. Sleep and nutrition, as promised. I said sleep is more important than nutrition. Here's why. Our main fuel source as athletes are carbohydrates. Yes, I know you can run off ketones. If anybody's a ketone person in here, I get it, but we're not going to talk about that. Okay? So carbohydrates are ideal for us. That's what we use. If we are sleep deprived, we alter our ability to metabolize and store carbohydrates. That's why we don't store muscle or glycogen good. Terrible grammar. Okay? So it impairs our ability to metabolize carbohydrates, which is why people who are sleep deprived crave junk food. What kind? Crappy carbohydrates. Right? Go in your body quick, spike your blood sugar fast. So people crave junk food, crappy food when they're sleep deprived, which is a big problem. Eating large quantities of food late at night can impact your sleep. I get it. Late game, I'm starving. I want to eat. I ate the whole pizza. Sorry, coach. It happens. Okay? But it can impact your sleep. But again, I was hitting this home with your administration that this is why you need a dietitian. We can help give you guys better choices, maybe give you some food that won't keep you up or won't interfere with your sleep and whatnot. Okay? Sleep strategies. First thing you have to do is ask the right questions. I can sit up here all day and say you need to pay back your sleep debt, but what if you can't sleep? What if you have pain? Brandon, my shoulder hurts. I'd love to get 8 hours of sleep. Hell, I'd love to get 5 hours of sleep, but my left shoulder hurts and I like to sleep on my left side, and every time I roll over, it wakes me up. That's a problem. That's why I have sports medicine staff to take care of those things. So you can get a good night's rest. Maybe it's because of temperature. Maybe it's because I live in the dorms for the first 2 years and it's loud. Maybe it's because I have a roommate that has weird hours or does yoga at 3 in the morning. I don't know. Whatever, right? Totally makes sense. Okay? But it could be a number of reasons why you're not getting sleep. You have to figure out why, and then we can intervene. This is where these readiness questionnaires and training models come in handy for you guys. That's why you have to fill them out, so they can capture it. And we know these things aren't very accurate, but it gives us a better idea, better than nothing idea, right? We know that people are terrible at reporting when they go to sleep and their quality of sleep. So there's this thing when you fall asleep, it's called retrograde amnesia. Just a side effect of sleep. This is why some people don't remember turning off the alarm clock, why some people don't remember having a conversation with someone, We talked last night? Yeah, you don't remember that? No, right? It's also the same reason why people can't say, I fell asleep at 11:33 last night. You don't know when you fell asleep. You can tell me when you went to bed and roughly, but you can't tell me the exact moment because we all have retrograde amnesia as a result of it. But again, it's a starting point. That's why school has invested in technology to better understand your sleep and sleep patterns, to give you guys insights, actionable insights. To say, how long are we sleeping? What is the quality of my sleep? And then, can we make schedule changes to adjust? Maybe we don't have shoot around tomorrow because we're sleep deprived. Maybe we have a later practice. Hell, maybe we cancel practice. But again, there's a cost of doing business. Yeah, great, I get to sleep in, we don't have practice, but now you've also given up the chance of getting better. There's a risk to skill there. So you've given up skill acquisition because you weren't taking care of your sleep, right? So there's kind of an onus on both sides there, okay? The other thing is, I mentioned this, are you a lark or an owl? And this is some of the other things that these insights and this technology will tell us. Who are larks? Who like to go to bed early and up early? Who are owls? Go to bed late and up late. I'm an owl. My wife's a lark. Therefore now I'm a lark. Okay? When I'm on the road, I turn into an owl again, right? Like, all right, I didn't stay up late and do this and do that, and then I pay for it. You can convert. You can. An owl can become a lark can become an owl if you do it consistently. You can't say, well, I'll be a lark during the week and I'll be an owl on the weekend, right? It doesn't work like that. You have to commit and stick with it 100% of the time, okay? If you're a warrior, if you have a lot in your mind or can't shut your mind off, write things down. There are routines you can do. There are mental skills people who can help you develop routines to figure out a way to wind things down, okay? Guys I deal with all the time who have trouble turning off their brains. I just keep playing the game over and over and over again in my head, right? All right, well, maybe you just need to get that out. So watch video and do these things. Don't just ignore it. Deal with it, and then move on. This is the big one, right? Everybody talks about. Got to get rid of the tablets and the computers and the phones at night, right? Because they're going to keep you up. They're bad at night, okay? But that's not realistic, right? Doesn't make sense. So there are things you can do. The reason why these things aren't good is bright light, specifically blue light, blocks melatonin levels. What does melatonin do? It makes us sleepy, okay? That's why when the sun goes down, we start to get tired. Because when the sun has a lot of blue light, and it suppresses melatonin. Sun goes down, melatonin goes up, we go to sleep, and hopefully everything's fine. That's, like I said, everybody talks about blue light. Blue light's bad. Your devices are terrible. Again, here's sunlight, here's blue light. It's between 400 and 500. There's all the blue light. You can't perceive it to the human eye. Artificial light, look at all the blue light. But see, people talk about it. They talk about, well, get the blue light blocking glasses. Right? Stylish, aren't they? Yeah, I do own a pair. Use night shift on your phone, right? And then, or download Flux for your computer. And these are all great things. And I'm a big fan of doing all of these things. There are countermeasures that you can put in place which will help allow you to go to sleep easier, and these things won't interfere with melatonin levels. But the one thing everybody seems to forget is like, wait, what's the last things you do before you go to bed? Brush your teeth. And you get in front of this really bright, white light just suppressing melatonin. Like, you forgot about all these damn things, right? Because what they've done nowadays with these LED lights that last like 20 years, right? These energy efficient LEDs, look at them. Look at all the blue light. Shoots through the roof. Fluorescent light's decent. That's the crappy light they use in the library, so you're cool there. Right? That's why it's always easy to fall asleep in the library, right? That and maybe some of the material. The halogen lights are okay, incandescent lights are okay, but all these cool white LEDs that people use, they're just keeping people up. So I'll talk to some of my athletes and they're like, I'm turning off my screens and I'm still having trouble. I'm like, what's the rest of your house like? Bright lights in the kitchen, the LEDs in the bathroom, they're just roaming around their house, without the things. It's like, we gotta start changing the lights in your house, right? There are things you can do to block that. And again, those glasses work well. Reasons why some athletes don't get enough sleep, Sleep disorders, insomnia, sleep apnea. It happens. Some of you guys probably do have it in here. Okay? Scheduling, practices, training, meetings, games, long distance travel, promotional events, commitments, eating, commuting, time off, lifestyle, sleep hygiene, alcohol, drugs, caffeine. People would say this one all the time. Brandon, what about marijuana and sleep? I hear that's good for you. There's actually not much research on it. There's a lot of research on sleep and marijuana and mice. You ain't a mouse. Doesn't quite work the same way, right? Research, we start with mice, rats, then we go to chimpanzees, then we go to humans. We're only at the mouse stage right now, okay? What we do know is some of the effects and things, certain contributing factors of marijuana can actually impair circadian rhythm and affect microglial cells, okay? So the THC component doesn't seem to have an effect yet, but the CBD side does. But there's still a lot more research that have to be done. But at the end of the day, this is a big one. I deal with this with a lot of my athletes, not just the alcohol and caffeine, but the drugs, okay? They can impact you, and they can hurt you. Even the excessive use of Adderall. Some of my guys love Adderall because they think it gets them in the zone. They don't have ADHD that's diagnosed, but they think it's going to put them in the zone. And they think it can make up for a bad night's rest. And they think it can help counteract some of these things. The chemical contribution of Adderall is only one of the 3 to 4 chemicals that make up the zone or flow. So it does not replicate it, which is why people who use high doses of ADHD for athletic performance just do marginally okay from time to time. Doesn't enhance it. Same with other recreational drugs. Noise, air quality, light exposure, stress can do it, but it's a vicious cycle, right? I become more stressed and lack of sleep. Now I can't sleep, so now I'm stressed. What do I do? That's why you should have mental skills people to talk you through these different routines. I'm going to give you an example, one here. One, turn off the screens. We talked about that, right? Just set the night shift, get the blue light blocking glasses and those things. Those are important. Take a hot shower. The cooling effect after you get out of the hot shower actually triggers the sleep cycle. That's where it can be beneficial. Listening to relaxing music. A light stretch helps. Some people like to lay out their clothes the next day. Student athletes, though, sometimes they like to sleep in their clothes. One less thing they have to do in the morning for early weights, right? Seen it, been there, right? Try to go to bed by 10:30. Again, not always realistic. Read a relaxing book for 30 to 45 minutes. Yeah, but Brandon, I don't like to read. Well, don't freaking read, right? I'm just giving you some options here. These are some options or some examples. The point is you should try to develop a bedtime routine. You have a warm-up routine. You have a skill-based routine that you guys go through all the time. You have progressions that you follow. This is no different. It's just one more routine to establish. Create a quiet and comfortable sleep environment. Again, not always realistic. Dark room around 67 degrees. Mask unwanted sounds with a fan or other white noise. Earplugs, sleep mask can help, right? Earplugs take a little getting used to. I get it. Bose just came out with these new sleep buds. Oh, they're awesome, right? Very comfortable. You can put them in your ear. You can actually roll on side to side. Doesn't bother you. The downside is they don't Bluetooth, so you have to listen to what they tell you to. That's the only downside. So wait for like second gen. Don't spend money now. Some of my people that I work with are like, I can't sleep on the road. I sleep great at home, right? And I'm like, well, what's your environment like at home? Well, I get, like, if it get dark, I do that on the road. I put a towel under the door, and I take the clips and I clip, the hangers and use them to clip the shades closed, so that way the light doesn't peek through. I do all these things. I'm like, you have a fan at home? Oh, I love my fan. You have a fan on the road? No. Well, download a friggin' app that sounds like a fan. And they do that. Next thing I get a call, like, dude, that worked, man. The fan thing was great. Like, shocking, right? There's simple things. All you have to do is replicate your environment where you sleep best and then try and implement it on the road, or vice versa. And I get it. Sometimes people on the road sleep better. Why? You're not in your dorm room. It's more comfortable. You might fit in your bed, actually, right? That's the problem. And the nice thing, I've talked to them about this, there are actual ways of helping you guys sleep better. Hotels are great with sleep preferences. I have mine dialed in with every hotel I stay. So I checked in last night at the Marriott downtown. They're like, oh, Dr. Marcello, thanks for coming back. I'm like, you coming, Brandon, all right, first of all. You're like, oh, we have your sleep preferences. You're away from the elevator on the high floor, away from traffic. Thank you. Right? It's simple. If you're a light sleeper, ask your coach to put you away from the ice machine, away from the elevator. And with the technology that we're giving some of you guys, hopefully to all of you at some point, right? Maybe all, I don't know, right? We can tell who are the light sleepers and who are the deep sleepers, so we can start pairing people up better based upon how they sleep, so that your teammate isn't waking you up in the middle of the night. A lot of things you can do to make things actionable, right? Simple stuff. Supplements, prescription drugs. These are supplements that some people think work. Some of them do. This is ZMA. It stands for zinc magnesium aspartate. That's not aspartame or equal, the artificial sweetener. That's something completely different. Okay? Magnesium potentially might help people sleep better. So supplementing magnesium does it. This stuff will give you some wacky dreams, though, FYI. Okay? People are like, I'm going to get some today. Right? Melatonin. People love melatonin. Everybody asks me about melatonin. Always. Somebody after every sleep talk, can I ask you about melatonin? So I'm just going to address it now. Okay? Melatonin only works in 50% of the population. Half the room, sorry. The other half, there's hope. However, the dosage of melatonin ranges from 0.2 milligrams, 0.2 all the way up to 5 milligrams. That's a big range. And everybody's requirements are different. Oh, guess what happens, by the way, if I give you too much melatonin? You can't sleep. Oh shit, that screwed that up. Right? So people guess. Oh, by the way, supplements aren't regulated by the FDA, which means they might say they have 3 milligrams of melatonin in it. In actuality, well, let's put in 7. Because by the time it sits on the shelf, you know, in the back, and then transfers across the country here to Milwaukee and sits in the back room somewhere, and then people take it home and sits in their cabinet and consume it, maybe it'll be degraded down the 3. Huh, who knows? We're not regulated, why not, right? Tart cherry juice, that stuff actually works. It helps trigger the sleep cycle. It has some pretty cool benefits from a recovery standpoint, anti-inflammation standpoint, but what they noticed when they were doing all the research on recovery and inflammation, everybody started reporting sleeping better. Huh, who knew? So now they did studies with that, and it actually does help. BioZ is a protein supplement. It's not banned, but it's impermissible, which means your school cannot purchase it for you. You can go purchase it on your own if you want. But it has a substance called lactoalbumin in it. All you need to know about lactoalbumin makes you sleep. Okay? So BioZ, pretty clever marketing, right? But these two things do work. Here's some other things. Power off, SOM, sleep. This is a big one now. I see this all over social media. I was giving a similar sleep talk to the National Hockey League strength conditioning coaches and sports medicine staffs. And the SOM sleep chief operating officer was in the back of the room. And I bashed his product. So I'll do it again. He's not here, right? He knows how I stand, right? It's not about that. So what we talked about was that same thing. They have melatonin in it. How much? 3 grams. Again, who knows how much is really in it, right? So it might work for some people, but probably not. So this stuff is just a bunch of crap. These things, ZQL and Advil PM and all those things, those are fine if you use them when you're sick, right? After the 3 days when you get the cold because you didn't get enough sleep and sat in here, right? You can use this to help you get some sleep. But you shouldn't rely upon it every night. People that rely on melatonin every night, or Advil PM, I know people in this room do because I see people doing this, turning around looking for them. Right? You don't want to rely upon it every night. Ambien. No, Ambien, right? The prescription length for Ambien, depending if it's Ambien, Ambien CR, could be a little different. It's only recommended for 2-week periods of time. Not any longer. But there are physicians that will prescribe it to you, right? They probably also need sponges in people. Doesn't mean it's good, right? But these are supposed to be used in a pinch to help people get sleep. Parents going through a divorce, death of a family member, something traumatic where people can't sleep. These things are supposed to help you get sleep. Sometimes we use it, I use it with my athletes. We'll get some of our team physicians to prescribe it for traveling transcontinental. Okay, just gonna use a military term, like you guys have no idea what that is. So transcontinental it is. So anyway, sometimes we'll use it for that. If you do take it in that instance, make sure it's on empty stomach, because if you take it with food, that works well. All right, takeaways. Sleep is important to every human being. There is absolutely no exception. Everybody needs it. Performing under fatigue isn't a badge of honor. Look what I can do with zero sleep. Good for you, buddy. All right? It's not a good thing. People love that. People always talk about that. Look what I did, zero sleep, and I'm a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and whatever. You're probably going to die 20 years before you're supposed to. Right? But if you want to live life on your terms and stack the odds in your favor, then sleep is important. Anybody know who Condoleezza Rice is? Okay, former Secretary of State, friggin' amazing individual, okay? She said this, and she was busy at the time. She spent 4 years as National Security Advisor, for those who don't know her, and 4 years as Secretary of State. And she said, very few times, there's only one time, the entire time I was in office, I got less than 8 hours of sleep at night. That was during 9/11. But the rest of my time in office, I worked out every day, and I got 8 hours of sleep. Because I didn't feel comfortable making decisions on behalf of the American people on less than 8 hours of sleep a night. Thanks. Whether you agree with her or not, with her politics, I appreciate you wanting to be in the best position to make decisions, okay? And she's busy, right? And I see it all the time with these guys. Well, I'm too busy to sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, that's coming faster than you think. Right? That's what it is, right? Consistency is key. Oh, it impacts physical, cognitive, social, and emotional, right? Everything. Not just performance and how fast I run and my reaction time and how I remember stuff. It impacts me in the classroom. It impacts me how I interact with my friends and colleagues. If I do choose to go out, it impacts how I feel, right? Socially, who I hang out with, if people like hanging out with me or not. You see it all the time. Somebody's crabby and irritable and sleep deprived, hanging out with you, go to bed, right? Consistency is the key. Routine, routine, routine. And again, I hate your coach, but you have to coach sleep, okay? Sleep hygiene. This is like the last couple slides here. This is what it's all about. There's this thing called dental hygiene. Hopefully many of you are familiar with this, right? You brush your teeth every day, hopefully twice a day. You do all of your teeth for the allotted period of time. Like you just don't wake up today and say, you know what, today, I'm just going to get my bottom teeth today. Maybe tomorrow I'll get my lateral incisor, right? You don't do that. You brush your whole mouth, right? And the same thing with sleep. It's about sleep quality, it's about sleep quantity, and consistency of sleep-wake timing. And it's not realistic to be able to do this all the time. I get it. You have unpredictable, you have crazy schedules, you have other demands you're trying to do. But I can tell you this. Those who go into these unpredictable, crazy scheduling periods with very little sleep debt handle them better than those that go into these crazy times with a lot of sleep debt. Does that make sense? So, if you want to learn more, I'll give you some videos to watch. I'll give you two. Not giving you books. I gave your coaches books. I'll give you guys videos. Jeff Iliff. One more reason to get a good night's sleep. Does amazing TED Talk. Jeff's a colleague of mine. Freaking, I feel stupid when I'm with that dude. It is so cool. He was on that research team that found that bathing of the brain in cerebral spinal fluid. Nuts. This guy, Russell Foster, Why Do We Sleep? Fantastic. The reason I like this one, he talks in a British accent. If you tell me anything in a British accent, I'll believe you. So I don't know if this stuff's any good, but I believe it. Okay? I skip these. Awesome quote. I love a cigarette. That's what makes it so classic, right? It's like, really? You need that? John Steinbeck, American author. It's a common experience that a problem difficult at night is resolved in the morning after the committee of sleep is worked on. We've all been there. We're trying to write a paper at the 11th hour, trying to study, write an email, hell, send a text. And it's like, I can't even focus. I'm just going to deal with it tomorrow. You wake up and you look at an email and say, what the hell was I writing? And then next thing you know, you fix what you were trying to write for 20 minutes and you did it in 2 minutes. Like, I should have gone better, right? Or you read a text, it's like, what? What is that? Right? So again, sleep is powerful. I think we know there's an impact. What you choose to do with that information is entirely up to you. But I guarantee there is absolutely zero downside. Okay? We ask them questions. They want questions.
They have questions. Knock it out.
If you have questions, probably half you guys like say, don't ask a question, don't ask a question, don't freaking ask a question. Let's get the hell out of here. We need to go to bed. I tell you what, I'll be up here if you have a question, and then you can come up. The rest, you get the hell out of here. Thanks for your time, guys.